Coach, Agile Coach, Enterprise Coach, super duper executive lean Agile Enterprise Coach. There's no shortage of people who represent themselves as a coach, whether it's on their resume, their CV, or on LinkedIn in their profile. But what is a professional coach? Today's 5-minute short topic brought to you by Success Mentors University. I'm Joshua Barnes, and I'm joined by Al Shalloway. So I feel that, coaches need to play an active role in helping teams improve. But there's more than just that. So Al, what do you think?
Yeah, that was funny because what a coach is up in the air. And my answer here on what is a professional coach is the title of a third of my book on employee development, which deals with this. Because what it came out to is, as I'm teaching this employee development masterclass, and actually as we're doing this Discipline Agile Value Stream Consultant workshop that Joshua and I are teaching this week, people often come up and say, okay, well, that sounds good, but how do I convey that to anybody? If you think about it, if you can't convey it to anybody, then I don't care what you know, it's not going to do any good. You have to, your ability as a coach, your ability as a consultant is how you can impact people. Now, obviously, you need to know something, but I want to look at it that way to start with. Let's define what a professional coach is based on the behavior we want. So there's obviously the appropriate personal character, and I'm not going to talk about that. I do believe that can change, but that takes a long time. I've dealt with people. I used to be an incredible introvert. I'm not that now. So I know people can change. I can listen better. I used to be, well, a lot of people would still think I'm an arrogant asshole, but I used to be a lot worse. Let me put it that way. So wherever you think I am on the scale, believe me, you did not want to see me 20 years ago or 30 years ago. But there's like, what do you know? So I think you have to have clarity on what success means. So there's what you know, but I'm still not getting to the point of what you have to be. So you need to know a deep understanding in the area. You can't coach something you don't know. You need to be able to convey necessary concepts and what they mean to different roles, and an understanding of how people learn. Because you can say the most brilliant stuff, but if you don't understand how people learn, they're not going to necessarily get it. And I also think need to know tools, how to help people. Like you and I use these mural boards all the time. That's incredible. Tools can be really useful. People are always discounting tools, like, well, it's the people and all that. Yeah, but if you got to do something, having a nice tool that helps you do it is really helpful. So the thing is, I think coaches need to help people understand what their problems are and what the solutions are. Now, how they go about it requires them understanding who they're talking to. What do they know? How do they interact with them? That's what this book talks about. And if you're interested in the book, just go to successengineering.works. You can look under resources, books, and it'll be right there. And go to what is a professional coach. That's where I start. But see, here's the interesting thing. How a coach works kind of depends on their availability to the client or the team. I'm a consultant. I go in, I might say some things, help people figure some things out, but I know I'm leaving. So if I tell people what to do, that's really bad. Not because they'll resist. They won't. I'm often asked, Al, will you tell us what to do? And I don't say no because they're client, but I'll say, well, let's work through this together. And the reason I do this is because if I'm there, I give some advice and then I leave, they're not going to resist it. The problem is they're going to use it and they won't have thought through it all the way. And then they say, oh, well, Al was wrong. And I was wrong to give him that much. So as an outside coach who comes in for a little bit and leaves, I have to be very careful about the state they're in and what they know. And I mention this because I'm very aware of this. And as a coach, you have to be very aware of the situation you're talking in, working. But on the other hand, if I'm an embedded coach, if I'm with the team all that time, I can work differently. I can say, hey, well, why don't we try this? And here's why I think it's a good idea. And maybe they haven't worked it through in their head. But by doing that, well, Al, we got a problem. Well, I'm right there. And yeah, that's because we need this as well. We didn't quite get that far. And don't put it on them. I always put it on me, not giving them enough. So your availability affects things. This is why I do think coaches need to be more proactive than just facilitators. I've always hated that. But what you also have to recognize is your teams vary. Some teams, they don't want to figure this out. This is one of the reasons you see so many developers hate agile process, They complain about the meetings. They complain about the extra time. You know what? If they were getting value from those meetings and that extra time would be nothing. Oh, let's go to the daily stand-up, the daily scrum, because it's going to be so good for us. We're pivoting. We're not going to lose time. They don't think that way because, look, I just want to get back to programming or whatever it is they want to do. So the coach needs to fill in a gap here and help them. And that's dependent. Some teams, let's get together, figure out what's going on. This is why a coach can't come from just a set of things. They have to read the market. They have to read the team they're working with. But I think you should know more than the team, at least as far as workflow goes. You don't have to be an expert tech guy. In fact, I am a long-term tech guy. I've written a few technical books. I programmed for decades. But if you were a coach and you were a scrum master, say, for a tech team, you don't have to go take up programming. That won't do you any good anyway. You'll never catch up. But you can talk to them and understand what their problems are from their perspective and then help see how they can do better. So as a coach, maybe the number one thing is you're not there for you, you're there for them. And you don't let them flounder if you see how to improve. That doesn't mean you have to tell them. It doesn't mean you have to walk them through. You just have to give them enough so they want to try something new and then see what happens and make suggestions where you can back up from them without problems. Now, that sounds a little bit like a safe to fail experiment. And for them, maybe it is. But for you, you should have a pretty good understanding of whether it's going to work or not. Coaches need to know this stuff. In my years of coaching, when I suggested something 9 out of 10 times, I was really pretty sure it was going to work. Every now and then I would run a safe to fail experiment. But if you understand what's going on, you actually know it'll be an improvement. The trick is getting them to try it.
Right. Well, thank you for joining us today for this 5-minute short, whether you're watching this live or on replay. If you have any questions, please post the comments in the LinkedIn chat, and we will see you on our next 5-minute short.